Good morning, everybody. This is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. I'm here to bring some anti-freedom news to you. Just one more way this government, even on a state level, can stick it to you any way they can. So we got this piece of crap Democrat in the New York State Assembly, the Senate, has pushed forward Bill S04260, as I'd like to call Screw Freedoms in This Country Senate bill. Essentially, what this bill does is prevent future protest, or at least that's the idea. It doesn't specifically say protesting is illegal. Well, they can't do that. That's unconstitutional. But what they can do is disenfranchise you if you are a habitual protester. And they don't even try to hide the fact that this bill was brought forward is in a response to the protests from what happened to Eric Garner. So they choke a black man to death for selling a damn cigarette. Whether it was malicious or not, I'm not here to talk about that. Because the focus wasn't on Eric Garner's death. The focus was on the protests afterward. We gotta protect police, Tony Avella says. And the police chief says. The police had called for them to make it a tougher charge for resisting arrest. Now let's think of what resisting arrest actually is. Well, to put it simply, it's bullshit. It's on the level of it's just a charge that they can tack on just because they didn't like the way you were dressed, they didn't like the way you talked to them, they didn't like the way you didn't bow down before them and call them gods when they showed up to arrest you. And this is a charge that most protesters that go to jail will receive, resisting arrest. So let's read this. A person is guilty of aggravated resisting arrest when he or she commits the crime of resisting arrest pursuant to Section 205.30 and has previously been convicted of such crime 2 prior times within a 10-year period. Aggravated resisting arrest is a Class E felony. So let's look at what a Class E felony is. And I'm going to put this down as a nonviolent Class E felony because there's a difference between violent Class E felony and nonviolent. I'm just going to assume that they list this as nonviolent. So if you protest or if you are arrested more than twice in a 10-year period, you are now a criminal on the level of somebody that tries to lure a child. That's right. Luring a child is a Class C felony. Stalking in the second degree, as opposed to the first degree, is a Class C felony. Criminally negligent homicide is a Class C felony. Rape in the third degree is a Class C felony. Criminal sexual act is a Class C felony. Female genital mutilation is a Class C felony because we all know there's New Yorkers, man. They kind of go crazy on that female genital mutilation, because we hear about that in the news all the time. Had to pass that law, had to make it just because it's just horrible. I mean, female genital mutilation in this country, really? Now, do they consider, a female using a large dildo to be genital mutilation. Of course, I'm being facetious, but I think you get the idea. It's unlawful imprisonment, so essentially kidnapping is a Class E felony. So if you are arrested and given an aggravated resisting arrest charge more than twice, or I guess once on the third time it's an aggravated resisting arrest charge. So if you resisted arrest twice in a 10-year period, you are a Class C felon. I'm at a loss for words here, people. And the fact that they'll slap us in the face like this, and they don't hide the fact that this was brought about from protests. Protests is the reason why they passed this. And if you become a felon, your life is pretty much screwed, people. You become disenfranchised. You are ostracized from this country. You can't vote. You can't carry a weapon. You can't get housing assistance. You got to check that little felony box whenever you go to apply for a new job. And when you're looking over that application and that little box comes around, have you ever been convicted of a felony? What are you going to do about that? Are you going to sigh heavily and go ahead and check mark it because you know that you are a felon? You committed a crime that they consider as bad as luring a damn child or mutilating female genitalia. I don't understand this. And from a Democrat. That's the worst part for me, I think. Traitors to this nation, these people are. These people are traitors. I suggest everybody share this, or if you don't like this video, go and share a video of this from somebody else and spread the word and get people to start calling these idiots and telling them to go F themselves. Of course, you want to do it in a nice way because, you don't want to be considered threatening to these senators because, they are superhuman. They are above the law. If you say anything to these people that's considered a threat, by God, you better be ready for your life to be over. You might as well kill yourself. Because in this country, a felony is essentially a life-ending thing. Your life is over at that point, or at least the life that you knew once. We can't allow this to go through. We just can't. Because a resisting arrest charge is given to people just because. If you talk back to the officer while he's arresting you, bam, that's resisting arrest. If you have shoulder problems and your arm doesn't go around to your back like it's supposed to, or like the cop wants it to, you're resisting arrest. And how are you going to argue that in a courtroom? Because that is a subjective charge. That is something that a cop can say, oh, yeah, he was resisting. Well, can you prove that he was resisting? Well, yeah, because I just said he was resisting. That's my proof. So don't let this go without saying anything about it. What I would suggest is getting out there and protesting the hell out of this thing. Protest. Get out in the streets. Because this is ridiculous. And that's all for now, folks. We'll see you later.